Imagine you are part of a group and an interviewer asks you what your opinion on a topic is. Now imagine that the majority of the group voted one way and you now voted the other. The interviewer now tells you, well, since you did not vote with the majority of the group, your vote no longer counts. How would that make you feel? Upset? Hurt? Betrayed? For a lot of people, it would make them feel like they did not matter. This is the way the majority of the United States might feel if the Electoral College got overturned. All the people who do not live in a major populated city or state would no longer count in the vote. Since the 2016 presidential election, I have done a lot of research on the Electoral College and why it was invented. Since my research, I feel I understand why it was created and the meaning behind it. The Electoral College was developed to support the people who do not live in a major populated city or state. It is designed to allow those people to have a voice in the election. The Electoral College should remain in place and should not be overturned for the majority, the popular vote. The first thing I will talk about is the fairness that the Electoral College brings to the people. The Electoral College was designed to give everybody an equal opportunity in deciding who would become the next president of the United States, no matter their location. According to the United States Census Bureau, the population in the United States is 321,418,820 people as of July 2015. If we change it over to the popular vote, like several people are wanting, then that means the more densely populated areas, like California and New York, would be the majority in deciding who got elected. The United States Census Bureau states that in July 2015, there were 39,144,818 people in California and 19,795,791 people in New York, which both happen to be Democratic states, compared to Wyoming, which only has 596,000, and Nebraska with a population of 1,896,190 people, which both of those happen to be Republican states. This means that the states that have less people, which also happen to be the opposing side, will not have a say in the election because there are just not enough people in those states to make a difference. This leads me to my next point, how there will be very little chance for change of power as a result of the popular vote. If the densely populated areas in the United States all happen to be Democratic, then there will never be a change of power once the president is elected under a popular vote. If your densely populated cities, which again all happen to be Democratic, like LA, San Francisco, Detroit, Chicago, and New York, all vote for the Democratic Party, then you would have a lead in the Democratic Party in government. This means that not only would the Democratic Party be elected by popular vote, it will mean that there will not be a change in power because the people who want to vote the other way just don't make up the majority of the people. David Walbert, an author of an article called "Does My Vote Count? Understanding the Electoral College," states that the point of the Electoral College was to decide how much power the small and the large states should have. If we leave it up to a popular vote, the large states would have all the power, while the smaller states would have no power at all. Finally, this leads me to my final topic. If the large states will now dictate the laws and regulations. Now that the government is being run by one party that has been chosen by the populated states, those states will now determine and dictate the laws and regulations of the nation. Whichever side is in power, whether it be Democratic, Republicans, Socialists, or Communists, will determine the laws and how they will be regulated. In our time and day, that just happens to be the Democratic Party. Different.com lays out a comparison chart that shows the differences between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is more conservative, while the The Republican Party is more conservative, while the Democratic Party is more liberal. Both sides have different values and opinions on several subjects. Due to the fact that both parties are so different and value different things, a government with both parties in it will lead to a better balanced government and help dictate the laws and regulations. If we now remove one party completely through the popular vote, then we create an unbalanced government which is chosen by the popular vote. This leads the government to be controlled by large states, and the leaders will only reflect the values that those states have, which in turn would not be fair to the smaller states. They just don't hold the population levels. The smaller states' values will be ignored, while the larger states' values will gain the power. I have now explained 3 reasons why it would not be fair to the American people if we got rid of the Electoral College and replaced it with the popular vote. I will now leave you with my final thoughts. Our government is a very delicate thing, and it needs to be balanced by the fact that we have 2 different sides in our government. Each side represents the values and opinions of everybody in the nation. If we replace it with a popular vote, then those values of one side will now be ignored. It'll also lead us to have one side in power, and we won't be able to change that power. The larger states will run and choose the side that they want. This will lead those states that have and hold the power of the government to dictate and regulate the laws of the nation. We must keep a mixed government that can represent both sides without overriding the other side completely. This is done through the Electoral College.